If I want to earn $100,000 on Fiverr in 2026, this is what I would do. Hi, I'm Matt and I've worked on Fiverr for the past 6 years, served over 1,000 clients, and I've gotten the top and prorated badge on Fiverr. And in this video, I'll show you every step that I would take if I wanted to earn $100,000 on Fiverr in the next year. Step number one, you need a skill that you're already good at. So I see this misconception a lot in other YouTube videos where people tell you don't need any skills to get started on Fiverr. And in my opinion, this is complete bullshit. The reality is on Fiverr, the sellers with the best skills, so the best quality work, the best communication, and the best marketing, i.e. the most ratings, the most optimized gigs, and the best portfolio, they will all win. And so if you want to get started on Fiverr, you need something that you're already good enough at so that you can offer it as a service. However, this doesn't mean that you need to be an expert. You just need to be good enough to get started and to offer something people will pay for. And in fact, Fiverr is actually a fantastic way for getting more reps in for your skill and leveling up your skill while you're building your Fiverr profile. So step number one, you need a skill that you're already good at. Step number two, you need to pick a category on Fiverr that actually pays. So the reality is most categories on Fiverr will not pay you $100,000 a year in your first year. And in fact, most categories won't even earn you that much in 2 or 3 years on Fiverr. The reality is that the most money on Fiverr is where the most buyers are. And the most buyers are just in a few select categories. Some examples are stuff like social media marketing, video editing, or graphic design. These are traditionally categories where you can earn a lot of money, even $100,000 or more per year. On the flip side, this means that if you choose a low earning category to get started on Fiverr, it will be virtually impossible for you to earn $100,000 per year on Fiverr. And I know this because, for example, I'm in the translation niche. I offer English-German translations. And even as a top and pro seller, I know it is in fact impossible to earn $100,000 on Fiverr in your first year on Fiverr. It's not going to happen. And so this means if you want to set up your success and earn a lot of Fiverr, you need to pick the right category right in the beginning. Step number three, find a corner in the market with less competition. So you have a skill that you're decently good at and you've picked a category in Fiverr that pays well. Now what you need to do is you need to find a corner in that category that has less competition. Because the fact is, if you are in a category on Fiverr where you can earn a lot of money, there is also a lot of competition, meaning you can potentially compete with tens of thousands of other sellers or even hundreds of thousands of other sellers. And if you're a completely new seller without any reviews, you will simply not compete against established sellers. However, what you can do instead is do some keyword research and target keywords with your new gig that are less competitive. So for those of you who don't know, keywords are the search terms buyers put into the Fiverr search bar to find what they are looking for. And so if you find a keyword in your category that is less frequently searched for, this is an opportunity for you to target buyers where you will have less competition. Let me show you an example. So to show you a very simple example of how to use keywords to find a corner in your category with less competition, let me just show the example of digital marketing, right? So digital marketing is like super category on Fiverr. And if you go to social media marketing, which is a very high paying niche, you will see that there are over 100,000 search results. So as a new seller, it will be basically impossible to get started in this category. However, what you can do is you can basically narrow down the buyers that you're going to target. So if you look around, there are different types of social media marketing. There's Facebook ads, setting up Facebook pixels, Instagram, LinkedIn ads, stuff like that, right? And so if we just take an example, let's take LinkedIn ads. So if we take LinkedIn ads as a keyword, the result is, as you can see, now there are only 998 results. And so here it is a lot easier to get started when you're targeting this keyword, and this can then later help you transform your gig into a more general gig that can reasonably compete in the overall category with 100,000 sellers plus. Now, to be fair, obviously this keyword will also pay you less money, but it's a great and easy way to get started in your category. So your job is to find keywords in your category where there is less competition, and this way you have a much bigger chance of landing your first orders. And so at this point, you have noticed, in order to get started right on Fiverr, you, on the one hand, need to find a category that pays well. And for that purpose, you need to have estimates on how much new sellers, mid-level sellers, and top sellers earn in that category. But then you also need to find the right keywords in that category to get the right start. And because this can be rather hard to do if you don't know what you're doing, I've created a step-by-step program that helps you exactly with these steps to find a category that pays you well, and then also find keywords that you can target to get started in. You can find this completely for free by joining my free Fiverr community in the link down below. But now let's get back to the video. Number 4 is optimizing your gig and portfolio. Now, this one is very straightforward. In order to compete against bestsellers on Fiverr, your gig and portfolio both need to be optimized. We're talking great profile picture, a great gig thumbnail, an intro video for your profile, a gig video for your gig, and so on and so forth. If I were to dive into this in just this video would be way too long. But again, if you want to have tips on how to optimize those, just join my free Fiverr community and I'll help you there. Step number 5 is underpricing your gig in a reasonable way. So the reality is that in the beginning, if you have no reviews, you need some kind of edge to convince buyers to buy from you instead of established sellers. And oftentimes you can do this by underpricing yourself. And this is important because you need to realize that in the beginning, when you have a new gig, you're not actually working for the money you're gonna earn, you're working for the first reviews. Because reviews help you gain momentum, make your orders more consistent, and ultimately will give you the ability to raise your prices and actually earn what you're worth. So you should look at your competition, see what their prices are and underprice them, but do it in a reasonable way. So for example, if most of your competition starts at least $200, you should not offer your gig for $5 because this will come off as a cheap, low quality service. Instead, in this example, you could do something like a $50 to $100, which is still a lot cheaper, but it's not so cheap that it destroys the perception of your quality. Of course, in some categories, you have to go down as far as $5, but always remember, you're doing this to gain the first reviews to be able to raise your prices later. Step number 6 is giving your gig a little boost. Look, it is an open secret that a lot of new sellers ask their friends and family to buy their gig for them, and so just that they get the first review on their gig. And I actually also recommend doing this. However, I recommend doing this in a smart way. The fact is that if you're a new seller on Fiverr and you have a new gig, Fiverr actually tries to help you gain that first success by basically boosting your gig for a short amount of time, which can be anywhere from a week up to 30 days. This is an observation that many sellers have done, although this has never been officially confirmed by Fiverr. So what this means for you is that you should make the most use out of those first few weeks where your gig naturally gets a boost. So what I suggest is that you just get one review in the beginning on your gig by your friends and family, and then just leave it at that and see if you can get an organic order after that, because organic orders are obviously always better. And the idea here is that just having one review on a gig makes it so that it's not naked. There's at least one review on there. And so it increases your chances for getting that first organic orders dramatically. Now, that's one thing that you can do to give your gig a little boost. Secondly, if you are already a more established freelancer and, for example, you're working for clients outside of Fiverr, what you could do is ask your existing client base to place orders through Fiverr to basically help you with those first few reviews. Lastly, what you can do if you're already more established on Fiverr and you are at least seller level 1, you can also run Fiverr ads to your gig to help it boost and gain those first orders automatically. Step number 7 is making every order count. I've already talked about underpricing yourself. Obviously, it sucks underpricing yourself, but you're doing this in order to gain momentum and to get orders consistently. However, you want this period where you're underpricing yourself to be as short as possible. And so during the period, you should be extra diligent with answering buyers quickly, delivering the orders quickly, and consistently asking for ratings so that you get your first ratings out of the way fast and you get to a stage where you can get orders consistently and you'll be in a position where you can actually start raising your prices again. In this period, always have your Fiverr notifications on your phone. Make sure you answer fast, reply quickly, send the buyer the offer, and then actually deliver quality work and ask for the rating. And the last step in making $100,000 on Fiverr in 2076 is actually keeping delivering and scaling up. If you followed all the steps so far, this means that you have established yourself in your category enough that you're getting orders consistently. So you already have the hardest part behind you. Now what you need to do is keep delivering good quality work, slowly raising your prices so that you don't kill your momentum, but start earning more and more money per order. And now you're just going for this Fiverr carousel of delivering great work, getting more reviews, getting more orders, delivering more great work, and so on and so forth. Also, at this point, if you haven't already, you should use Fiverr ads to put fuel on the fire of your gig and get even more orders. And if you follow all these steps so far, you're in the right category that pays well. You've given your gig the initial momentum, you're getting orders consistently, then you can actually earn $100,000 on Fiverr in 2026. I hope this was helpful. This is what I would do if I had to start over on Fiverr. If you want more useful tips like these, join my free Fiverr community, which you'll find down in the link below.